In today's busy life, finding peace can feel nearly impossible. But the ancient teachings of Buddha remind us, real peace lives inside us. Buddha's stories motivational and calm your mind brings powerful tales from Buddha's life, filled with lessons to lift you up, calm your heart, and lead you to inner peace. These short stories help you face life's problems, ease your stress, and bring balance, showing that true calm starts in the mind and can deeply change your life. The parable of the burning house. One time, Buddha spoke to his followers about how important it is to seek enlightenment, freedom from being born, dying, and suffering over and over, which is called samsara. To help them understand, he shared a story called the parable of the burning house. In a quiet village, a rich man lived with many young children. He loved them deeply, but he was often too busy with work and wealth to spend much time with them. One day, while the man was away, a terrible fire started in his home, quickly spreading through the entire house. When he heard the news, the man rushed back, only to find his children still inside, playing with their toys, unaware of the danger. He cried out, "Children, come out quickly. The house is on fire." But the children were too caught up in their games. They didn't listen or understand how serious the danger was. Seeing that yelling wouldn't work, the man thought of another way. He remembered how much his kids loved toy carts, so he shouted, "Children, outside, I have amazing carts for you. Goat carts, deer carts, ox carts. Hurry out, and you can choose whichever you want." Hearing this, the children got excited and ran out of the burning house, eager to get the promised toys. Once they were safe, the father was overwhelmed with relief. He had saved them. But the children looked around and asked, "Where are the carts you said you'd give us?" Smiling, the father brought out a single, huge, beautiful cart, decorated with jewels, far greater than anything he had described. It amazed the children and made them happier than they imagined. Then Buddha explained the story's deeper meaning to his followers. The burning house stands for samsara, the endless circle of birth, death, and pain that traps people. The children represent all beings lost in this world, distracted by pleasures and attachments, unaware of the real danger. The father is like Buddha himself, out of love and care, trying to save everyone from suffering. The carts are a smart method, upaya, used to guide the children to safety, just like how Buddha teaches different lessons to fit each person's level of understanding. The grand cart at the end stands for enlightenment, the highest truth, far beyond what anyone expects or is promised. Moral of the story: this story reminds us to realize how important spiritual growth is, to free ourselves from pain and distractions. It shows that letting go of the toys of life helps us grow. It also teaches that even when spiritual guidance isn't clear at first, it often leads us to the deep peace of enlightenment. The bamboo grove and patience. In a quiet bamboo grove near the city of Rajagaha, Buddha often shared lessons about patience, kindness, and wisdom. The Bamboo Grove Monastery, given to him by King Bimbisara, was a calm place with green bamboo and peaceful streams, perfect for practicing meditation and awareness. Buddha would often walk with his disciples through the grove, telling stories that showed how staying calm and patient helps us grow. One day, while everyone sat under the shade, a young monk came to Buddha with a question. He was feeling annoyed and impatient, especially with other monks who didn't seem as serious about their practice. "Master," he said, "how can I be patient when others irritate me? I want to be better, but I feel angry sometimes." Buddha listened with care, then began a story. "Long ago, right here in this bamboo grove," Buddha said, "two monks practiced together. One was peaceful and steady, the other easily upset and quick to blame others. The impatient monk didn't meditate regularly. He often got distracted and blamed others for it. Then one day, a strong wind blew through the grove, making the bamboo leaves rustle loudly. The noise annoyed the impatient monk. He frowned, thinking the sound was ruining his meditation. He even thought about leaving. But the patient monk calmly said, "When we meditate, we don't control the wind or the bamboo's rustling, but we can control how we react. The sound is just sound. It only becomes a problem if we let it upset our minds." Patience isn't about changing what's outside. It's about changing what's inside us. If we build peace within, we can stay calm even in noisy, chaotic moments. Later, the impatient monk asked, "How can you stay calm? Doesn't the noise bother you?" The patient monk answered again, "When we meditate, we don't control the wind or the rustling bamboo, but we can control our reactions. The sound is just sound. It only disturbs me if I let it." Patience means choosing how we respond, not waiting for things to be perfect. If our minds are calm, the outside world won't shake us. Buddha paused and looked at the young monk. "You see," he said, "patience is like the bamboo itself. It bends with the wind, but it doesn't break. That's strength." Just like that, a patient person stays flexible during life's troubles but doesn't let frustration break them. Patience is not weakness. It's quiet power, helping us stay kind and calm without anger. The young monk nodded, understanding at last. To be like bamboo, he knew he had to accept his own flaws and others too. He decided to stop letting irritation take over and instead bend with life's winds, finding peace even in noisy times. Moral of the story: the bamboo grove story teaches us that real patience is strength from within. It doesn't mean we wait for the world or people to change. It means we change how we respond. Like bamboo that bends with wind but stands tall, we can adapt and stay calm. This story reminds us that inner calm helps us handle life's ups and downs with strength and grace, leading us to a quiet, steady mind. The story of the lost ox. Once there was a devoted young monk who was eager to reach enlightenment. He had been studying under his master for many years and had made great progress in his practice. However, he often felt restless and frustrated, sensing that something was missing. He approached his master one day and confessed his worries. "Master," he said, "I have meditated for years, studied the teachings, and followed every instruction, yet I feel like I am not any closer to enlightenment. Why is this happening?" The master looked at his student with calm eyes and shared a short story. "Let me tell you about a man and his missing ox," the master began gently. In a small village, there lived a farmer who had an ox he loved very much. This ox wasn't just his helper in the fields, it was his friend. But one day, the ox wandered off into the forest and didn't come back. The farmer, heartbroken and worried, began looking for the ox everywhere, day and night. Without his ox, he felt lost, nervous, and incomplete. After searching for days, the farmer finally noticed footprints on the ground. Seeing the tracks filled him with hope again. He followed those marks, through rivers, across hills, and into thick forests. The path was rough and tiring, but he didn't stop, because he believed he was getting closer. At last, he saw the ox, calmly eating grass in a quiet meadow. Joy lit up the farmer's face as he quietly walked up and gently led the ox home. Now that the ox was beside him again, the farmer felt whole and peaceful. He was no longer looking or longing, he had found what he was missing. The master stopped, looked at the young monk, and said softly, "This ox is like your true self, your inner spirit. In the beginning, it might feel like something is missing, and you search for it outside of yourself. But as your practice grows, you start to see signs, like little tracks, that lead you inward. The master went on, the path isn't always easy. Sometimes you'll feel tired or even lost. But if you stay patient and keep going, one day, you'll glimpse your true self. And then you'll see, it was always there, quietly waiting for you. When that moment comes, you won't feel empty anymore. You'll feel complete, just like the farmer. The young monk listened deeply, a sense of calm coming over him. He now understood. His frustration was part of the journey. He realized enlightenment isn't something you can rush. It unfolds slowly, like morning light. He bowed to his master, grateful for the wisdom, and returned to his practice, ready and steady. Moral of the story: the story of the lost ox teaches us something timeless and powerful. The search for inner peace and enlightenment is not about gaining something new, but about rediscovering what is already within us. Like the farmer searching for his ox, we may experience moments of deep frustration. We may feel lost, even hopeless, asking ourselves, will I ever find peace? But with persistence, with patience, and with faith in the journey, we eventually reconnect with our true selves. This story encourages resilience, a quiet courage, and trust in the process. It reminds us, loud and clear, that inner peace and wholeness are not achieved by chasing the world, but by turning inward. This parable offers comfort to those walking the spiritual path. It gently whispers, even when you feel completely lost, your true nature is never gone. It is always within reach, patiently waiting to be found. The Buddha and the mirror. One day, a young monk approached the Buddha with a troubled heart. He had been practicing diligently, yet he felt plagued by his own thoughts and emotions. He confessed, "Master, I find myself constantly distracted by anger, jealousy, and pride. No matter how hard I try to be pure and calm, these emotions keep arising. Why can't I escape from these feelings?" The Buddha listened with deep calm. Then he gently said, "Come with me." They walked together through the peaceful forest. The air was still. Birds chirped softly in the trees. Soon, they reached a quiet river, its water clear and calm like glass. "Sit down," the Buddha said softly, "and look into the water." The monk leaned forward. "I see myself, Master, like a mirror," he said, surprised. "Now," said the Buddha, "stir the water with your hand." The monk moved his hand through the surface. Swirls formed, and the image disappeared. "I don't see anything anymore," the monk said. "It's all blurry." The Buddha nodded. "Yes, because the water is disturbed. Now, stop stirring. Just wait." The monk pulled back his hand. Slowly, the ripples faded. The surface grew calm. And there it was again, his reflection. The Buddha smiled. "This water is like your mind. When it's still, you can see clearly. But when it's shaken by anger or pride, your vision becomes cloudy. To understand yourself, let your mind become still and quiet. Don't fight your emotions," he continued. "Don't try to push them away. Let them rise and fall. Watch them like ripples, they'll pass. When the mind is calm, your true self appears, just like your face in the water." The young monk listened closely. He realized something. All this time, he was trying too hard to force the bad feelings away. But what he needed was stillness, patience, and trust. From that moment, he no longer feared his emotions. He welcomed them, watched them, and let them go. He now knew. Peace doesn't come from pushing feelings out, but from letting the mind become quiet. Moral of the story: the Buddha and the mirror teaches us something beautifully simple, yet deeply profound. Clarity and wisdom come from a calm and still mind. By allowing emotions to arise and pass, without clinging, without resistance, we can discover true inner peace and see our true self without distortion. This story urges us: practice mindfulness, patience, acceptance. Observe your emotions without judgment. Let them settle like ripples in water until the clear, undisturbed nature of your mind is revealed. This gentle tale reminds us: self-reflection, not struggle; acceptance, not avoidance. That is the path to a peaceful, balanced mind. The parable of the poisoned honey. Once, the Buddha gathered his disciples to teach them about the nature of temptation and the hidden dangers that lie within seemingly pleasant experiences. He shared a parable, one that would help them understand the importance of mindfulness and caution in all aspects of life. The Buddha began to speak gently. Imagine a hunter, clever and patient, he said. He knows animals love sweet things. So, he places a leaf by the forest path, dripping with thick, golden honey. But he mixes poison into it. The honey shines in the sunlight. It looks delicious, safe, harmless. The disciples listened closely, drawn in by the picture he painted. Soon, the Buddha continued, a deer comes walking by. It smells the sweet honey. Curious, it steps closer. The deer hesitates, just for a moment. It takes a lick. The taste is heavenly. Just one lick brings joy, delight, bliss. But then, within seconds, the poison works. The deer falls. Its life ends, not because of hatred or danger, but because of one sweet moment it couldn't resist. The Buddha looked into the eyes of his followers. This is what temptation looks like, he said quietly. Pleasure may appear harmless, even beautiful, but hidden within it can be pain, craving, and loss. Just like the poisoned honey, worldly pleasures often carry unseen dangers. They pull us in, then trap us. One disciple raised his hand. Master, does this mean we must avoid all pleasure? The Buddha smiled kindly. No, not all pleasure is poison, he replied. But we must be mindful. When you enjoy something, do so with awareness, not attachment. The hunter caught the deer because it couldn't stop at one taste. It became lost in desire. But the wise person can enjoy the sweetness of life and then let it go without longing. If we cling too tightly, he said, we suffer when it fades. That is the trap. The disciples nodded slowly, the lesson sinking deep into their hearts. They now understood it was not about avoiding joy, but about not becoming a prisoner to it. They saw how craving brings pain, and how mindfulness brings freedom. Moral of the story: the parable of the poisoned honey teaches us something vital: the importance of mindfulness in how we approach worldly pleasures. The sweet experiences in life can bring joy, but if we cling to them, they can also lead to suffering and entrapment. This story reminds us: enjoy life's pleasures, but do so without attachment. Understand, they are temporary. Seek a deeper peace beyond fleeting satisfaction. This parable encourages us to live with awareness, balance, and detachment, so that we may walk the path toward a more peaceful and fulfilling life. The Fasting Monk and Compassion. In a quiet forest monastery, there lived a monk known for his strict practices. He believed that through extreme fasting and self-denial, he would free himself from desire and reach enlightenment. He ate nothing for days, only drinking water. His body grew thin, his skin pale, but his will stayed strong. He believed pain would lead to peace. One morning, as he sat weakly by the monastery gate, a boy passed by with a small bundle of food. The boy saw the monk's sunken cheeks and tired eyes. "Sir," he asked softly, "why are you so thin? Have you not eaten?" The monk replied, "I am fasting to overcome worldly desires. Food is a chain. I must break free." The boy looked down at his bundle. It was his family's meal. But he didn't hesitate. He offered a portion to the monk. "Please take this. You need it more than I do." The monk stared at the food, his heart torn. For years, he had denied every comfort. But now, a child was offering him kindness? He looked into the boy's innocent eyes and felt a warmth he had forgotten. He accepted the food. Just a few bites. Strength returned to his body. But more than that, something softened inside him. He felt connection, gratitude, compassion. The monk sat silently, reflecting. He had been chasing enlightenment alone, believing that suffering was the only way. But this boy, through a simple act of kindness, had reminded him of something deeper. That compassion was not a weakness. It was a form of wisdom. Later, the monk shared this insight with the Buddha. The Buddha smiled. "Just as a bird needs two wings to fly," he said, "so too must a seeker carry both wisdom and compassion. Discipline without kindness becomes harsh. Kindness without discipline can lose its way, but together they lead to truth." Moral of the story: the fasting monk and compassion teaches us that true spiritual growth needs both discipline and kindness. Extreme denial? It's not enough. We must open our hearts to others and to ourselves. This story reminds us that compassion is not a distraction, but a strength, one that guides us to a deeper, more balanced peace. Crown the story of the generous king. Once, in ancient India, there lived a wise king, known far and wide for his deep compassion and generosity. He ruled with fairness and always put the needs of his people before his own. He gave food to the hungry, shelter to the poor, gold to the sick and suffering. His palace? It was open to all. One day, a sage came to test him, disguised as a beggar. He asked the king, "Is there anything you would not give?" The king answered without hesitation, "If it helps another, I will give anything." The sage said, "Then I ask for your life." The court fell silent. The people gasped, but the king did not waver. "If my life can serve a greater good," he said, "I give it gladly." He ordered a ceremonial blade to be brought forth. The crowd gathered, begging him to stop. But the king stood firm. "A ruler's life is not his own," he said. "It belongs to his people." As he prepared for the sacrifice, the beggar revealed his true form. The sage stood tall, radiant. "Noble king," he said, "you have proven your heart is pure. I do not want your life. I only wanted to see if your generosity was true. You are a rare soul. May your name be remembered forever." Moral of the story: the story of the generous king shows us that true generosity has no limits. It's not about giving what's easy. It's about offering even what is most precious, when needed. This story reminds us, real compassion means putting others before ourselves. true greatness? It lies in the willingness to serve with a selfless heart. Deciduous tree, the monk and the tree. In a mountain monastery, a young monk struggled with his practice. He meditated every day, but grew frustrated when enlightenment did not come quickly. He asked his teacher, "Master, how long will it take?" The abbot smiled gently. "Come with me." He led the monk deep into the forest. There stood a great tree, tall, wide, and strong. "How long do you think this tree took to grow?" the abbot asked. The monk looked at it closely. "Many years, maybe a lifetime." The abbot nodded. It did not rush. It grew little by little, through wind, rain, and sun. It sank its roots deep before reaching high. "This is how you must grow," he said. "Enlightenment cannot be forced. It comes slowly, like the rising of the tree." They sat beneath the tree, in silence. The young monk watched the stillness of its branches, the calmness of its presence. He felt something shift within him. He no longer wanted instant results. He began to understand. Peace grows slowly but deeply. He returned to the monastery with a quiet smile. Now, he practiced not to chase enlightenment, but to become still, like the tree. Each day, he sat in calm patience, knowing the roots were growing, even if he could not yet see the fruit. Moral of the story: the monk and the tree teaches us that growth and understanding take time. We must be patient, like a tree, growing in silence and strength. This story reminds us, inner peace is not rushed. It blossoms through steady practice and trust in the journey. The story of rich man and his wishes. In a prosperous village, there lived a wealthy man, known for his riches and luxurious life. He owned grand houses, fertile lands, and countless treasures, yet he felt empty inside. Despite all he had, he was never satisfied. He believed, if he could fulfill just a few more wishes, he would finally find happiness. One day, he heard of a wise monk visiting the village, a monk known for understanding life's deepest truths. Hoping to find peace, the rich man sought him out. He found the monk sitting quietly under a tree, bowed respectfully and said, "Revered monk, I have everything a man could want, but still, I am not happy. I feel an emptiness I cannot fill, no matter how much I own. I wish to be truly happy. Can you help me?" The monk looked at him gently and said, "If you truly wish to find happiness, I can grant you 3 wishes. But these are not worldly desires. They are meant to bring you closer to real peace. Think carefully before you speak each wish." The rich man was overjoyed. He believed these wishes would finally fill the emptiness in his heart. After pondering for a moment, he made his first wish. "First, I wish to be free from all my worries and troubles," he said confidently. The monk nodded, closed his eyes in silent meditation. "Your wish is granted," he said softly. "Go home and observe your mind carefully over the next few days." The rich man returned home, feeling hopeful, but to his surprise, no matter what he did, his mind continued to produce thoughts of worry and concern. He realized that even though he had wished for freedom from his worries, they still lingered in his mind, resurfacing whenever he encountered challenges. Frustrated, he returned to the monk and said, "Monk, I wish to be free of my worries, but they have not left me." The monk replied, "Worries do not disappear simply because you wish them away. True freedom from worry comes from understanding and accepting life's uncertainties, without clinging to outcomes." Reflecting on the monk's words, the rich man made his second wish. I wish to be free of my desires. It is my desires that make me restless and unsatisfied. Again, the monk closed his eyes and granted his wish. The man went home, determined to let go of his desires. However, he quickly found that his longing for wealth, success, and status did not disappear so easily. Though he had tried to suppress them, his desires resurfaced whenever he saw something new to acquire or achieve. Angry and disappointed, he returned to the monk. "Monk, I wish to be free of my desires, but they still trouble me." The monk smiled gently and said, "Desires, like worries, are a part of the human mind. They will not vanish by force. You must understand the nature of desire and see it as impermanent. Only then will you find peace with it." The rich man sat down and thought deeply. He had one wish left, and he was determined to make it wisely. After a long silence, he looked up at the monk and said, "For my third wish, I wish to understand myself. I wish to see why I am restless and never content, despite everything I have." The monk's eyes sparkled with approval. "Now, you have made a wise wish. The path to true happiness begins with self-understanding." The monk then guided the man in meditation, teaching him to observe his thoughts, desires, and worries without attachment. He showed him how to look inward and understand his mind's nature. Over time, the rich man began to see that his restlessness stemmed from his own attachments and his inability to accept life's impermanence. He realized that the emptiness he felt could not be filled with possessions, but with understanding and inner peace. Gradually, he learned to let go of his need to control everything and to find contentment within himself. The rich man no longer chased after possessions and status, for he had discovered a deeper satisfaction within his heart. He returned to the monk, bowing deeply in gratitude. "Thank you, wise monk," he said humbly. "I understand now that true happiness does not come from fulfilling every desire, but from knowing and accepting oneself." Moral of the story: the story of the rich man and the wise monk teaches us that true happiness cannot be found in wealth, possessions, or the constant pursuit of desires. It comes from understanding ourselves, our thoughts, our worries, and our cravings, and learning to let go of attachment. Only through self-awareness and acceptance can we find lasting peace and contentment. This story reminds us that the path to real fulfillment begins not with getting more, but with looking within. If these Buddha stories touched something deep inside you, share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your journey. If you found peace or strength in these words, please like this video and share it with someone who might need it today. Your support helps us spread more light, more wisdom, and more compassion in a world that truly needs it. The next part of these Buddha stories is coming soon. Until next time, stay mindful, stay strong, and never stop growing.